someone is like, here's my new boyfriend, what do you think? Maybe don't say off rip, he looks like the type of guy that I could knock over with a pail of water. Like don't comment on him.
He looked like the type of guy to ask for where his hug is after a youth group.
Yeah, he looked like the type of guy to own an anime body pillow.
I know it hurts. I'm sorry. This is not your fault. All right, you came to the right place, you ding dong. It's called communication, baby.
Welcome to The Crunch, the only Catholic podcast that's a Bloons Tower Defense 4 themed show. It's your boy, Ethan.
And I'm Patrick, and this is a special episode of The Crunch called Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner, for those of you who don't know. Our Sunday episode is our main show. We've been doing it for about 7 years. We started doing the Dating Corner because you guys just kept sending us dating questions. We needed a whole new show to answer them. So Ethan, who has a PhD in dating, I'm going to read him some questions submitted by our listeners, and he is going to give them the best advice possible so they can have great, happy, healthy relationships. And you can too, Ethan. If someone wanted to submit a dating corner question, how would they go about doing that?
They would go to bit.ly/crunch discord, and they would navigate with their mouse, or maybe if they're on their smartphone, with their thumb, or really any other flesh. It all works. Like, we know how. I mean, you just gotta.
We don't discriminate here.
Yeah. Use your pinky toe. Doesn't matter to me. But navigate over to the Dating Corner channel inside of our Discord at bit.ly/crunch discord, and just take your question, type it into the little text box, press send, and then wait for the magic to happen. You know what I'm saying?
The best part about it is that
anything, but
if you have a pressing dating question, even if you don't want it to be on the show, if you post it in the Dating Corner, someone will answer you within 5 minutes. Help. It is.
Yes.
Everyone loves that channel. I can't even pay attention to it because
we have the best community. We have the best Catholic community on the internet because we're not afraid to kick out the weirdos, and we encourage good-natured tomfoolery in a way that no one else does. So come join us in our online community and tell me what you think Pope Benedict XVI's favorite monkey tower would have been. Personally, I think he's a bit of a glue gunner type of man.
Oh yeah, I'm not as in on the lore of Bloons Tower Defense.
This isn't
Although
really lore.
I did
this
play
is just
Bloons.
I'm just looking at the list of towers at the side of the screen. Yeah,
I thought you were ripping that from the back of your memory. I wasn't a Bloons Tower Defense guy. I played it a bit. I was more of a Fantastic Contraptions player. Have you ever played that?
Now you're making stuff up.
No, Fantastic Contraptions was an incredible game that you could play on school computers. You had to make a contraption.
And it had to kind of have an element of fantastic.
It had an element of fantasy. You had to move the red block from into a field, into the zone, the red block into the red zone, and you had to use different there were different sticks that you could connect, different wheels. The wheels turn in different ways. Sometimes you could have sometimes you had to rotate. It was really cool. It was a fun game.
You had to make a Rube Goldberg machine.
No. It was more of a contraption. There was no Rube elements in it.
You were
there
at
was
the
no
whatchamacallit convention.
You fill up the toaster with marbles, and then the toaster goes down and flips a bird into a cup, and then the cup spins, and then it gets picked up by a dog who smells a steak cooking that the toaster made. It's none of that.
Yeah.
It's just good-natured sticks made of wood and water. There were water sticks. I don't quite know. Anyway, it's gone now. You can't play that anymore.
Oh, that's tragic.
I know. It's awful. So bit.ly/crunch discord, and you can have a question answered. Last week, you guys, the Katie episode was so funny.
It was great.
I'm glad
you listened to it. You liked it?
I did. I really did.
Yeah. It was fun. We forgot to mention on the other podcast about the Good Egg Fund.
Oh, let's record something and then put it back in.
We'll record something and put it back in. I'll let Ryan know. But on this podcast, we got
So before we get to our first question, we have a sponsor.
Yeah, we have a sponsor, and she was on the show last week. You can go back and listen to it. But Katie Ruvalcaba runs a nonprofit called the Good Egg Fund, where essentially, if you or someone you know wants to do something good in their community, money and lack of money is never a reason not to do something good. So if you want to do something nice for your neighbor or something nice for a friend of yours or a coworker, or you just see someone that's maybe hurting a little bit, and the example she gave was, helping a friend buy some new shoes for his kids because they couldn't afford, new shoes. It's not that they were poor, they weren't out on the street, but she wanted to give that, piece of happiness to her friend and their kids. So if there's someone in your life that that, man, they could just really use a little bit of help with something, or a nice gift, or something that would really spread goodness and joy and positivity, that's what the Good Egg Fund is for grants up to $500. So if you have an idea of a way that you can make someone's life better for $500 or less, you can go to goodeggfund.org and you can apply for a grant, and they'll give it to you, which is cool.
And if you're like, I can't think, if you're like, I can't think of anything right now, but I do want to help, you can go to goodeggfund.org and you can donate. You can become a monthly contributor, and you can contribute to Good Eggs, helping other eggs all across the globe. This egg-shaped globe of ours.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's spinning around and around in an endless pursuit.
A big frying pan in the sky.
Yeah, the big frying pan.
And one day
in the
we will
sky.
crack, and the Lord will return.
Yes, and he'll be shaped.
Thanks, Good Egg Fund, for sponsoring this episode of The Crunch.
He'll be shaped like Le Bacon Strip. LMAO, reddit.com. Let's get into the dating questions. I'm ready to answer some questions from the people. Let's hear the first one. I want to know.
This one comes from Christina. Specific question. Back when my sister was dating, she's married now, she sent me a picture of a guy she went on a date with and asked what I thought. They stopped dating a week later, and then she got mad at me for not saying I didn't think he was that attractive, because after many other red flags, she also decided he wasn't even good looking. I said, what was I supposed to say? I never met him, and he wasn't dating me. So main question, should we be truly honest in these situations?
I think there's a bit of baggage in this question, because I think it sounds like your sister was just trying to support you. Or no, hold on. The sister texted her. It sounds like you were just trying to support your sister, and she's mad that she broke up with this guy, and she's like blaming you for not saying that he's ugly, which I feel like is
you did the right thing. She did the wrong thing.
No matter what your sister's man looks like, when she texts you a picture of him, you got to say, "Oh, he's a hunk. He's a real Jack Reacher type."
When Phoebe's sister saw me for the first time, I think she'd throw up in her mouth. No, I'm just kidding.
It was like Arrested Development, like him.
Him? Dude, that scene is so funny. I'm sure Egg is great.
I'm sure Egg is great. It's so cute. She gets a little mayonnaise and she goes, oh, she gets it in there and she calls it a man egg.
The way he delivers that is just flawless.
It's so
and he's
good.
Like, it's a girl I'm kind of hanging out with. He meant at that moment. If you haven't seen
I don't know if I've met her. And then it zooms out. It shows her sitting at the kitchen table. It's so funny.
Her?
It's
his Anne on the nose. It's as Anne as the nose on Plain's face.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, it's really good. But that's not you.
Poor girl. She didn't deserve that. She's a perfectly pretty girl.
They were gonna recast her every season with a different girl as like a running joke, but they decided that the one girl did such a good job that they couldn't. She played it. But it'd be so funny if they just had a different actress,
a different Anne every time.
It'd be so funny. Oh, anyway, I think you should always be honest. Like, I mean, maybe not if someone is like, "Here's my new boyfriend. What do you think?" Maybe don't say off rip, he looks like the type of guy that I could knock over with a pail of water. Like don't comment on him.
He looked like the type of guy to ask for where his hug is after a youth group.
Yeah, he looked like the type of guy to own an anime body pillow. Like, you don't need to eviscerate someone.
He looked like the type of guy to drink Mountain Dew Code Red unironically.
Listen, 2012 was a good time.
I'm coming after you. All right.
I know today. I feel like I'm under a deep attack.
It's fine. I also thought Mountain Dew Code Red was the coolest thing. I once made up a story about playing beer pong with Mountain Dew Code Red instead of beer.
Yeah, because
So I thought it would sound really cool.
I was more of a voltage man than a code red man.
Oh yeah, blue
Yeah,
lightning.
that's all they had. That's all they had in the. What we would do is we would go to these debate work nights at the school from 6 to 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and
Yeah.
Thursdays, and me and like 3 other guys, we would be like, "Oh, we're gonna go work in the hallway," and because you had to go to get like hours for your grade, like for the class.
Yeah, sure.
So so you had to go to as however many work nights, and we did some other stuff too. But like if my debate partner wasn't there, there like wasn't very much we could do other than like research. You know, it's like not that much news happens between Tuesday and Thursday that affects the gas prices. So anyway, it's not important. But we would
Sure. Whatever
we
that
would
means.
go to the. I'll tell you later. But we would go to the vending machine. And I think I spent most of the money that I made in high school at this vending machine because I would buy every single time. I would buy a pack of the chocolate chip Pop-Tarts and I would get a Mountain Dew Voltage. And I just
bet you
thinking
would.
about.
I can't believe you
thinking
ate like
about-
that. I can't believe
know,
you did that.
dude.
That's
And I've
awful.
I've never weighed more than 170 pounds. in
That's
my
incredible.
life. And I used to, and I would just, oh man, it's crazy the stuff that I would eat. I feel sick now when I have 3 cookies instead of 2.
Oh, we're
Homemade
getting there.
cookies.
We're getting to 30. We're about there.
I know. So, here's what I'll say to you, Christina, question asker. You should be honest. I think more people need to be honest about other people's relationships. I think there's a lot of like walking on eggshells and like, oh, I don't know about
Yeah.
this. And it's hard when it's your sibling because you don't want to, like, if you go to someone 1 year into the relationship and say like, I don't think you guys should be together. I think you're bad for each other. And they end up getting married. Then you're kind of like always the person that's like, oh, she said that
Oh, they said that. Yeah.
we shouldn't be together and now we're getting married. But I think it's fair to express your concerns in a reasoned way if someone is willing to hear
Yeah.
them. And
No,
if they're
it's
not
super
willing to
fair.
hear them, then don't.
It's super fair because you got to see that person. You know, you hear about this with like, oh, be careful who you marry. Make sure to meet their family because when you marry them, you're marrying the family. And it's like, well, yeah, the
Yeah.
opposite is also true. Is that when your sibling gets married, you're getting a new sibling, and so you got to
Yeah.
be careful who your siblings date. Don't let them date a crazy person. Which is why
Right.
when Phoebe and I when Nick's girlfriend came down to visit, we invited her and him over, and we were basically looking at her the whole time like, "Are you cool? Can you hang? She can hang. She can hang. Anna can hang.
She passed the vibe check.
She super did.
Yeah. Did
She's
she?
a lovely lady.
Was she? Never mind. I can't think of it. I was going to think.
She was very Skibby Toilet.
That's
if that's what
how
you're-
did you know that I was going to say that? Actually,
I saw this.
I thought
this
about-
reel that was like a little kid that was like, dude, the mom invites the neighbor kid over for lunch.
yeah.
Did you see the new Skibby Toilet drama? The cameraman got canceled. How do you not know this?
That's really funny. Emma has this new job where she's picking up 2 twin boys. They're 12-year-olds
Uh-huh.
from middle school. And so it's like she goes, she picks them up, she drops them off. She gets paid a little bit of money. It's a nice little gig. And these today she was like, she was talking to him and one of them was going off about Gen Alpha because apparently he's just on the cutoff of not being Gen Alpha. Like he's the last.
He's Gen Beta.
He's Gen Z. No, he's the other way. So he's like, he's the last guy to be Gen Z, apparently.
Oh, okay.
That's what
yeah.
he's-
What am I thinking? A toddler is talking about Gen Alpha.
But he's like, dude, I hate Gen Alpha, dude. All they do is watch Skibby Toilet. And Emma was like trying to remember the word. She was like, and he was saying, they only watch. And I was like, Skibby Toilet. She's like, how did you know that?
How
I'm
did
like,
you know that?
I don't want to tell you everything that I know. But the next time that you're in the car with these guys, I just gave her a list of words. Like you can just like if they have food, just grab it and say Phantom Tax, and it's
One of the
over.
worst things that possibly could have happened to Life Teen as a brand is
Yeah.
that the meme about Edge.
Oh,
I know the term Edge is like these kids are saying. I heard a 12-year-old saying that.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, Life Teen is screwed.
It's six months ago. They do this big marketing study. It's like, guys, we've decided to rename middle school ministry. We're changing it from Edge to Goon. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's a cool name. Yeah, what does it stand for? God's only, onanism, no more."
Nice.
Thanks.
Oh, jeez.
Do we have another question? I feel like we need to get
Sorry,
to more.
we're really going in.
We're off topic
Gen
here.
Alpha. I refuse to reach out to Gen Alpha. We're just gonna leave them in the dust. Big Steve. Thanks, Big Steve.
Big Steve.
For asking this question. Thoughts on moving to a large city versus staying in my suburb after grad school? In May, I'm going to be finished with grad school, looking for a place to start working. I live in New York, currently have a job offer in New York City, one in Dutchess County where I live, which is 2.5 hours north of NYC. Excuse me. Dutchess County is where I want to end up living, but I know I'd have more opportunities to meet single Catholics in New York City. The job in New York City is higher stress, less pay. But as I said, the location is potentially better for meeting someone. Dutch isn't impossible to meet another Catholic, but less likely than a massive city like NYC. I'd prefer to live in Dutchess because my family is here. The job is closer to the field I want to stay in. What are your thoughts?
You're in a moment where you have to decide: do I want to live close to my family, close to a job, or do I want to live close to as many Korean restaurants as possible? Very
do I
want to
live
decision for you.
Do I want to live near my family, in a job that I like, in a place that's okay?
Or do I want to be able to get a little coffee, all the time?
Or do I want to live in the worst place ever and make less money?
Okay, I actually don't think New York City is the worst place ever. I think I will push back on that.
Teresa Bova
Who
once witnessed the police carry a dead person off of the subway. And no one batted an eye.
And they should have left him on the subway, is what you were saying.
No, but it's like, no one was like, hey, that's a dead person. No, everyone was like, whatever.
What are they supposed to say? Look, a dead person? Like, what's the response?
They were supposed to react. You're supposed to have some kind of human response to a dead body. And they were just
when you drive by
All in a day's work here in the Big Apple. Gonna go get a New York slice. Gonna go smack an old lady. I'm walking here.
We gotta drop this guy in the morgue, and then we gotta go down to Times Square and, whatever. I gotta go to the Bronx. We did some New York humor last week. Did you hear what I said? The 5 boroughs were.
That was really good. That was funny. I love that only one of them was a borough.
So here's the thing.
Oh, you said Staten Island, didn't you? Yeah, it's fine.
I might have said Staten Island. I don't know what I said. Ellis Island.
Staten Island is a borough.
That's where I live. Where do you live in New York? Ellis Island. I live in. Man, if we didn't have the stuff in the works that we did, and we were independently wealthy, I would say so many funny things publicly. But I can't. So here's the deal. For the purpose, your life will be better if you get married, if that's your vocation. Okay? If God is inviting you to a vocation of marriage, then you have a duty and obligation to get married. Okay? Living in New York City is the best way to find someone to marry.
I disagree.
No, he just said so moving to some suburb 2 hours north of the city where there's no young people with his family.
That's not
what
he
it said in the question. That's what it said in the question.
He said the Dutchess County area is where I want to live.
Sure.
I'd have more opportunities to meet single Catholics. It's potentially better for meeting someone. Dutchess isn't impossible, but less likely. So Dutchess County has he said that I'd prefer to live in Dutchess. My family's here. Job is closer to the field I want to stay in. It's not impossible to meet another Catholic person, but it's less likely. It's not impossible. And also everything he likes is there.
I just disagree with you. I think you're wrong.
I I think that it's like a no-brainer because living near your family.
I think it's a no-brainer also.
To go the other direction, the job is less money in a place that's more expensive to live.
Have you considered that?
There's nothing you can't do except find an apartment.
Who cares?
Bigger than a shoebox.
Live in a shoebox, but find a wife. You move to Dutchess County and you're basically giving up. You know, you have an opportunity to live in the most interesting place in the world and meet the most interesting people in the world, and you're saying, I'd rather live near my parents. What?
I am anti-New York as like, just in general. I just don't think it's a great idea.
You are a single man. You have 2 job offers on the table, which means that you're a competent, capable person. If
That's
you
fair.
want to, you could get a job in Dutchess County, New York later. Like those jobs aren't going anywhere.
Fair.
You know what I mean? You might have only this chance to live in New York City, New York. And I think there is a way higher potential because there is a huge Catholic underground scene in New York. There's a ton of young Catholics that live in New York. A lot of young Catholic women.
All of them smoke though cigarettes.
Who cares?
That wasn't a negative. That was a pro.
Yeah, go to the UN, find Dasha Nekrasova, get her back on with the program,
back on our side, and marry her. You know, like there's tons of these. I think if you move to Dutchess, you'll quickly regret it because I think you'll be instantly realize how small the dating pool is, and I would rather you have a way huge dating pool, and live there for 2 years, or so, than like move to Dutchess and then be like, well, at least I'm in the job that I like, you know. That just doesn't seem. I'll see that. If perhaps I'm anti-New York because it would not make sense for me to move my family of 3 plus to New York, and we got that, by the way. We're ultrasounded up, and
nice.
This is a slide. Sorry, just gonna throw that in there for the fans.
Keep it up.
And like that would not make sense for me. But it would make sense for a young single guy who's looking to date a nice lady. Fine, move to New York, but don't come crying to me.
I agree with the Van Neistat thought here. Van Neistat has a video about living in New York, and his argument is that every young person should spend every young person in America should go and live in New York for a year, because it
so they vote correctly when they move to a red county.
Certainly, there's a lot of political stuff. Like I wouldn't have wanted to live there in 2020 by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, geez,
but
yeah.
When things are normal, and they're not importing, people from God knows where by the busloads to your neighborhood and your churches, maybe you go and you live there. But I think there's something about it that is really, it's an experience you'll never, ever, 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 ever get to have ever again. And the fact that you have the chance, as like someone who never had that chance, just do it. If you don't like living, you can always move to Dutchess County. That'll always be there. But you will probably never be able to live in New York again. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Take that for what it's worth. And plus, there's women. There's so many women. Lots of ladies. Just by sheer numbers. How many people live in there? 8 million people live in New York City? Something like that?
All of them women?
They're all women. Half of them gay, so that cuts it down to 4 million.
That cuts it down a little bit, yeah.
That's still 4 million women that you could potentially meet. So
none of them are married. No married people in New York.
But I think Patrick also has a good point. It's kind of if you don't like it, don't live there.
I think BoJack Horseman said it best.
What did he say?
New York City. That's a great place to live for 6 months and no longer, and only if you're insanely wealthy.
That's a good point. It's way easier to live in New York if you have money.
Oh yeah, which is why when he said less money, I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
We don't know how much less. This guy could be a freaking, aerospace lawyer, and it could be the difference between like Dutchess County could be $250K a year and New York could be $200K. We don't know.
That's fair. We don't know. Anyway, if that is the case, patreon.com/The Crunch. What are you doing? I don't see any colors on your Discord name here, Big Steve.
If you're making at least 6 figures and you're not at least,
that's really not cool.
If you're making at least 6 figures and you're not in the $5 tier on Patreon minimum,
What are you doing? Come on.
please look in the mirror. Think about yourself. Let's do one more question and then let's go to bed.
Yeah, right.
After that.
That's how I'm doing it now. I'm only answering people's questions if their username has a color in it. I'm not only patron colors here. Guys.
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay, I would assume so.
I really like this guy at church, and I have for a long time, and we're in the same youth group. Ooh, a high school question. Oh my gosh, at 4:15 a.m. Oh, this is peak high school stuff. All right, I love it.
Yes.
But I always pray to God that his will be done in my life, and that if he has someone for me, the doors will be open. My question is, God can't make someone like someone, can he? That would be an invasion of free will. But he can somehow influence and bring people together, right? How does this work? That's a really good question, Nicole. That's a really good question. What do you think, Ethan?
Well, normally you're right, but in your case, he is going to change this guy's mind and he's going to fall in love with you.
I think the best thing you can do is make sure that everyone in the youth group is uglier than you. And the best way to do that is to bully them out of the youth group. If there's anyone hotter than you, you just bully them out. Or
to start an alternative. This is what Marcel Lefebvre did. Is he just became the hottest bishop in his own sort of little.
He was like, I don't like how this Joseph Ratzinger guy is the best looking dude in Europe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start my own church.
By the way, they didn't call him the German
I saw this
bulldog because
Sedevacantis.
he was ugly. Yeah.
There was a Sedevacantis account that posted a picture of young Ratzinger and was like, look at this idiot. And I was like, dude, you couldn't have posted a better looking pic. Oh my gosh. He looks so good. It sucks that he grew up to look like Palpatine.
I know. I saw the hardest edit of all time. Someone made an AI Oliver Cromwell edit. And it actually, I don't like Oliver Cromwell, but it actually went off. It was really cool.
We need to make more edits of us.
I know. I saw that and I was like, maybe he was right to kill the Catholic monarch. And then I was like, no, snap out of it. No, don't be convinced. Just because the music is cool.
The Book of Common Prayer isn't that cool.
No, it's not. That was Thomas Cranmer, was it not?
Who did I say?
We were talking about Oliver Cromwell.
Yeah.
So the can God
his juices?
Thomas Cranmer?
I'm assuming he invented like Cran Apple and Cranana and.
Yeah, my favorite Reformation figure in the English Reformation was this guy named Ocean Spray. That's the guy that I really like. Guess where he lived? Middle of London. So God cannot change someone's mind, like in terms of like by force, you know?
Yeah.
Like obviously God can woo someone over to an idea or but someone still has to choose it. And I mean, you're a child, so I'm going to be delicate with this, but like it's a pretty juvenile thing to think that you can pray to God to make someone like you. Like that's just not really what prayer is for. And that's not really why God exists, to like get you what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's okay that you like this person. I think a better approach would be maybe going up to them and saying, "Hey, I really like you. Would you want to take me out sometime?" I think would be
I think
better
in this instance, like your prayer
trying to go roundabout through the divine Godhead to get to him.
Yeah.
You know,
can you tell? It's like what you did in middle school, where you ask your friend to tell your friend to tell the guy that you like him.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's with God, who's a little more difficult to talk to in that way. I would say your prayer time is better spent in other ways than praying and petitioning God to get this guy to like you, and you would be better served to have time for mental prayer where you get closer to God. And you have time that will inform your actions, and then you go up to this guy and you're informed by grace and love of God, and you're like conformed to His will because you pray all the time, and so then you're gonna say the right things, and you're gonna be changed, and so you're gonna be more beautiful than you've ever been. I'm just kidding, but no, you're better off just going up to him and doing this, and then praying in other ways that are less
Have you considered maybe getting some of your friends and going to the store and then doing like a makeover where you take off your glasses and you undo your ponytail and you change an outfit, and then all of a sudden you're just...
You were America Ferrera the whole time.
You were really attractive the whole time, but no one knew. Have you considered doing that?
Yeah.
That's pretty common. You could be like Lindsay Lohan in Mean Girls, who was just obviously a very attractive woman in the movie, and then they're
super mean to her for no. Yeah.
Well, yeah, this Lindsay Lohan, great looking girl, and then they're like, oh, let's put her in a skirt, and she's just going to be 10 times as hot, but she's like still Lindsay Lohan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never understood that.
Yeah, I never got that either.
Just
put Janice Ian in a skirt. That's what I want to see.
Who?
Janice Ian.
I don't know about that.
That's the girl. That's the girl they're mean to. The mean girls are mean to the other girl, Janice.
Janice is the goth.
Yeah, she's the goth girl.
Yeah. I always forget about the fat guy who's in there too. He's kind of in the mix.
Too gay to function?
Yeah.
I can't believe you could say that in a movie.
You could say that back then.
That's crazy.
I think we might have come back around to being able to say it.
I think so.
But for a different reason.
We're back. Yeah.
Because it's like more... Did you see that study that came out that it's like more Gen Z identify as LGBTQ than as Christian now?
As white Christian specifically.
Yeah, like 28%
yeah.
identify as one of those, and 27% is identify as white Christian.
I read that statistic and I was like, hey, we're still winning, baby. It was 25 LGBT and 27 white Christian, and I was like, always on top.
I saw one where we're in second place now. Not anymore. We're not in first place.
Oh, no, yeah. I didn't see that one.
It's like 28 to 27. Yeah.
Maybe I misread it.
The post that I saw was that it should be more of a black pill, or more of a white pill than a black pill, because basically it just means that people are just going to believe whatever they're told. So all you have to do is just get in charge and tell them to be Christian again. And
that's what I don't understand about social Darwinism. Yeah. I had a great conversation with someone who was very much in like the trans world, and they were like, well, it's bad. Like the gender binary is bad because it's socially imposed. And so if we find a new social construct, and I was like, well, why is that social construct okay? And then is the gender fluidity thing a social construct too? And she said yes. I was like, well, would it be okay if we later replaced that one? And she was like, well, no. And I was like, why not? And she couldn't answer the question. She was also in high school, so it wasn't exactly difficult to talk her into a corner.
It's a not fair. Yeah,
it was easy mode. But however, it is those high schoolers are the ones that are kind of leading the charge. On high schoolers are starting TikTok accounts and being like, let's talk about, that one that I'm talking about. Let's talk about what it means to be pan-fluid. And I'm like, I want to shoot myself in the foot. I'm not going to waste my face.
Yeah. I'm not going to waste a bullet on any other part of my body.
Just my foot.
Just the foot. All right, that's it for us. We've given a lot of dating advice today, maybe.
It's true.
But we're happy to have the questions. Go to bit.ly/crunch discord. If you have a question, that's the place to go. Submit it. We'll talk about it on the show. We'll give you great advice, including but not limited to lying to your sister about how hot her boyfriend is, living in New York City, and asking God to deliver you from the tortures of hot men. That's what we're here for.
It is one of the things that our listeners struggle with the most is overexposure to hot men, such as ourselves. If you would like more exposure to us, you can go to bit.ly/crunch discord, and you can talk to us. We're there. Nice. We talk to people. You can stop tagging me now. It's over. All right.
Yeah, that's funny.
You listened to the last episode. You tagged me. You didn't listen to this one yet. You're listening to
Ladies
it now.
And
Stop it.
All right. Got him.
You did. You super did. You can go to bit.ly/crunch discord, and you can also go to patreon.com/thecrunch. If you think this episode was worth $1, we release 8 episodes a month, so that's about $10 a month. Little and some change there. If you think this episode was worth like $1.20, go and donate at the $10 a month level, and we will give you another episode on top of that. So if you think this was worth a cup of coffee, buy us a cup of coffee, $10 a month.
Yeah.
Ethan, do you have anything else for the people?
No.
Great.
Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We'll be praying for you. We'll see you all next time. Bye. Patrick never wins.
Bye.